Okay, let's talk about simplifying fractions. So, you can use this video to help you with fundamentals of probability, measures of central tendency, and graphing and functions, as well as all of that chapter. All right, so how do we simplify fractions? Well, to simplify a fraction, you will begin by finding the highest common factor of the numerator and the denominator. Then divide both the numerator and the denominator by that number. There's a couple of ways we could go about this, so I'm just going to do both on our examples here. We'll start with this one, number 1. Simplify the fraction by reducing it into lowest terms. So, in this fraction, the common denominator, hopefully you can see, is 4. You can play around with some numbers before we jump into that. So 16 is 4 times 4, right? It is also 2 times 8, 1 times 16. The other number, 28, I probably won't do this for everyone, but for this one we will. 28, I'll start the other way. We know it's 1 times 28. We know it's 2 times 14. It's not 3. We know it's 4 times 7. If we keep going, we kind of start repeating, right? If it's not divisible by 5 or 6, but if you go to 7, and it's 7, not 7 times 8, 7 times 4, and then 14 times 2. So we start repeating ourselves. So if we start repeating ourselves, we don't really need to include those. But you can see that the common denominator, the common denominator here is 4, right? So we got a 4. This one is 4. So what I can do is rewrite this equation, not the equation, the expression. I'll use this factor here and this one here. So 16 is 4 times 4, and 28 is 4 times 7. And so, realizing that these 4's cancel out, because 4 over 4 is just 1, we're left with 4 over 7. Okay. So let's look at another one similar to this, but the next one's going to be an improper fraction. This one is a proper fraction because the smaller number is on top. Just to show you, I can simplify this with the calculator. The magical step here is second PRB. This is going to reduce most fractions. It will not reduce all fractions. Okay, so 4 over 7. Additionally, there is a button, this fraction button. You can hit that, 16 over 28, and it reduces it automatically. Okay. So let's look at this one. 51 over 27. I can do this same game over here and do 51. Well, 51, that's a strange number. So a trick here is, we know it's not even, because if it was even, it would be end in a 0 or 2. I'm sorry, a 0 or any even number, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Here, it's a little less obvious, 51, but notice 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 is divisible by 3. So that's kind of a trick. So 51 is divisible by 3. Okay, so it's 3 times 17. Well, 3 and 17 are both prime, so that's about it. Okay, so that's about it there. For this other one, 27. 27 is 3 times 9, or 27 times 1. I guess we could have done that here, 1 times 51. But 1 times 27. So the largest one that they both share is 3. So 51 over 27. 51 is 3 times 17. 27 is 3 times 9. So the 3's cancel. And you have 17 over 9. And in my math lab, they are perfectly happy with improper fractions as long as they are reduced. Okay. So I want to show you what happens if I reduce this when using the calculator. You get your decimal, you do second PRB. It gives you this mixed number. This is saying this 1U89 is 1 8/9. Now, my math lab doesn't want a mixed number. Okay, oops. This is a mixed fraction or a mixed number. This is not acceptable on my math lab. Sometimes it might be, but sometimes it won't be, so we'll just say don't worry about that. So let's say I ended up with this mixed number. If I do second ABC, it'll fix it to 17/9. Okay. Even if I tried to use my fraction button here, I think it's still the same thing. Yeah. So you're going to have to do that to fix it. All right. And then our last example is I made the numbers a little harder. So in this case, if it's not clear, I'll do this down here. If it's not clear what the common denominator is, greatest common denominator, you can write out the numerator and denominator as the product of their primes. So the primes are the smallest numbers that create products that make these numbers. And a prime number is only divisible by 1 in itself. The smallest prime number is 2. 1 is considered a unit. All right, so how do I go about this? Well, I'm going to make a long bar here. 108. I do this little tree. We know that 108 is divisible by 2 because it's even. 8 is even. So 108 divided by 2 is 54. Personally, I just play this game until I don't have an even number. Divide that by 2. So 54 is 2 times 27. 27 is not even, but you should recognize it's divisible by 3. And of course, 9 is 3 times 3. All right, so I will put each of these prime numbers on the top bar. 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. If you wanted to check, that is in fact 108. 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. 108. Okay, same thing for 1020 or 1020. All right, 1020 is divisible by 2. 510 is divisible by 2. 255 is not, but you should recognize that any number that ends in 5 or 0 is divisible by 5. So that's the next one. Divide that by 5, you get 51. And you should recognize 51 from earlier is 3 and 17. So 51 divided by 3, 17. So these are all the prime numbers that compose to make 1020. So I'll put those numbers down. 2 times 2 times 5 times 3 times 17. I may double check that. 2 times 2 times 5 times 3 times 17. Yeah. So these pairs cancel out. All right, so what I have is I have this 3 times that 3 still on top. And I have this 5 times this 17 on the bottom. Of course, 3 times 3 is 9. And 5 times 17 is 85. So that is the reduced number. Okay, let's see if the calculator will simplify it for us. 108 divided by 1020, second PRB. Yeah, so the calculator will simplify it for us.